What the mind of a man can conceive and achieve, it can believe. I have the epitome of that today with me. She happens to be one of my good friends, but she is also a very, very, very successful lady. Please welcome Asha Saxena. But before she says hello, I have to say what she does. And actually, I probably will not be able to describe her, but she owns Future Technologies. She is on the board of many companies. She is a professor at Columbia University. She does CEO coaching, and she has time to call me every single day. So I don't know how she does it, but this woman is phenomenal. Please help me welcome Asha Saxena. Asha, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Alka. And I have to repeat the compliment back. You are amazing. Everybody loves you so much. I'm so glad to be on your show.
Ah, thank you. Thank you. It's very different when you are interviewing a friend, but I have Asha today as a mentor because I put up a post that said the 5 people that you surround yourself with are the qualities that you achieve. Asha is one of those women that I aspire to be with because she can juggle so much and make it all seem effortless. It's a skill that's not easy, especially when you're juggling as much as she's juggling. So, Asha, I'm going to begin with your beginnings. Tell me what ticks you? What ticks Asha Saxena?
Before I answer that question, I have to make a comment. So they say that leadership is not just about time management, it's about knowing how to juggle multiple balls. So when you become a leader, you have to know how to juggle. And you need to get better at juggling the balls than just learning how to do time management. So just a note on that.
That's awesome. What a pearl.
Thank you. So what inspires me? What takes me? I think learning. I constantly look to learn and grow, and I think no matter what stage of my career I am, or professional or personal life, I'm always looking for things how I can learn better, grow more. How can I just do everything better to improve myself? And
Yes.
so I think that's really what inspires me is to constantly figuring out how I can get better at everything I do.
But we both came from humble beginnings. We're not from super rich families. So, what is it that a girl from a middle class family, how does she achieve what you have achieved?
I always say that it's about your parents. It's family you grew up in. My mom, being in India, my mom, it was kind of silly, but my mom used to call me Queen Elizabeth when I was 2, 3 years old. And I think somewhere in my mind, I started believing her, and I started thinking that I can do anything I want. And I think parents have such a big role in early years of the child. And I think a lot of, at least the Indian parents do that. Now I see that they're really inspiring their kids, which is great. So I think if you inspire your kids and if you make them believe that they can do anything, they start actually believing that they can do anything. And I think somewhere I was the only child. I grew up with a very strong mom, and my mom made me feel that I can achieve anything I want. And I think that's what I started believing in. And somewhere unconsciously, I think I still have that in me that if I want something, I can get it. So why not try it?
Now, Asha, let's come to our main topic, right? January is over. People have set goals, New Year's resolution happens, but every day takes, I'm going to do it next week. I'm going to start next week. I'm going to do it next week. But the blink of an eye, the month is over. Now, all of a sudden, what you were supposed to achieve in 12 months, you now have 11 months to achieve. And it's like a ticking time bomb, right? Because if you don't do it by the end of February, now it's going to be 10 months. How is it that you can tell our audience, how can people stay on track and achieve their goals? Because that's super important. And as a coach, that's what you're doing.
Yeah, so I think clarity is really important. Knowing where you want to go is really critical. So if you want to be successful and if you set the goals, the number one thing of setting goals is having clarity of what you want and why do you want. And
Mm.
why is the strongest piece. If you don't have a why for where you're going, then you are going to be stuck
Mm.
or keep failing at that goal. So really understanding that why do I want to achieve what I want to achieve, and is my purpose strong enough? So sometimes, I do the same thing. I say, oh, I want to lose 10 pounds and I'm going to do it this year. And then my why is not strong enough.
So, Asha, when you were just starting your business and you're acquiring future technologies, and now you're a 27-year-old who owns a multi-million dollar company, there had to be struggles along the way because it's not easy. Nothing is easy.
Yeah, no, I think, yeah, you're absolutely right. What people see is the 5% of successes we get, and they don't see the 95% of failures, successful people actually have gone through. So there were tons of failures. I mean, I feel like the failures were constant, but I think a lot of times entrepreneurs learn to just fail constantly and learn from it and move on. And I think where you struggle is that if you take failure seriously and then you stick with the failure and not worry about growing. And I think that's what I personally, I mean, I failed a lot. And there were days when it was hard to get out of bed because you're laying off people and there's dot-com bust and there was, 2008 crash. And so there were a lot of downs, economic and business hurdles. But I think the successful people are the ones who learn from their failures and learn to grow. It's easy said than done.
Mm,
And I have to say that even though I'm just saying it, when I was in it, it was so much harder.
of course. Yeah. But, when for all of us who are not acquiring companies or who don't have a company, it's like having a goal, right? January has started. Now we've made goals, we've made resolutions, and we haven't, obviously, the month has gone by and you don't know where your resolutions are. So it's like not necessarily the same parallel, but when someone owns a company or has something that has to start again, how do you start your accountability, or how do you say, whatever time has gone, whatever failures have happened, now I need to get back on track?
Yeah.
What do you suggest?
So the first thing, I want to define success. Success is different for everybody. So what success is for me might be different for you, and what success for you is going to be different for me. So every little success you need to celebrate. So you don't have to ever measure yourself with somebody else. The measurement tape only relies on you. So if I'm successful, am I successful in my own terms? And how do I define success?
Hmm.
And then I have to create the criteria. What is my success criteria? And how do I break it down?
Hmm.
And then even before that, even before you define your success, you have to really know and have a clear idea of where you're going. And I think a lot of people struggle with that. They don't know where they're going. They don't have the clarity of or the vision of where they want to be. So the very first step I would say is really learning about where are you going, and then worry about why you're going there. And
Hmm.
you have a strong why to go to the place where you're going. And then you divide, then you talk about the smart goal, the being specific and measurable, attainable goals. But you really want to make sure before even you get to building your smart goals, you have a clarity of where you're going. And then you say, what is my why? And do I have a strong why? And then you break your goals down into small bits and pieces and then hold yourself accountable on
Hmm.
daily basis, on weekly basis, and then celebrate your small successes. I think celebration is really big because a lot of people forget to celebrate what they've achieved.
Yeah.
So I think every small win should be celebrated.
Mhm. But what if you're off track? What if you go off track? Because what happens is part of goals and part of reaching goals is when we go off track, we lose what we have achieved and we just concentrate on going off track. And we say, oh no, now we'll never be able to jump on the bandwagon again. We'll never be able to do this again. And time just passes because we're brooding over our failure. How do you get back on track without a time lapse?
Yes, I think when you feel like you are losing the track of the goal and you feel like you're having small failures or you're getting demotivated, you have to again go back to your why. Do you really want that goal? Maybe you don't want that goal. What you're really going after is not something that excites you anymore. And then you pivot and change. It's okay to change, and you say, you know what, losing 10 pounds is not really, really, really what I want, and that's why I keep, slacking and not going to what I want. So really knowing, having a clear goal of what you want, why you want it, and then start creating small wins. And if you feel like you're slacking and you don't have the motivation to do what you want, then there is probably that's not a strong why.
Mm. So, how does someone first get that clarity of what is my why? Do you suggest people write things down? Or is it there's self talk? Do you have a dialogue that you speak to yourself? Or you coach people?
Yeah. So, I have to say, like for me, when I started building the consulting firm, and there are times in your business journey, you start losing interest. And you say, you know what, been there, done that. What next? What else is going to motivate me? And the best thing is to keep trying
Mm.
different things and see what will stick with you.
Yes.
And so I started being an entrepreneur in residence for Columbia. Then I started teaching, and I said, do I really like it? In the beginning, I was like, oh my God, do I really, really like it? I don't think I like it. But then the more I did, and I said, oh my God, I actually enjoy helping build people. And so I landed up becoming a professor, and then I landed up becoming a coach. So I think it's a journey, and you have to enjoy the journey. And during the journey, you're going to fail. So it's okay
Yes.
to fail and say, you know what? I tried it. It didn't work out. I don't have to cry over it. Yeah, I mean, you can allot yourself some time to cry over it, but then eventually you have to move on. And
Yeah.
say, let me continue my journey, because I'm going to have failures. I'm going to fail. And eventually I'm going to find what I really, really love.
Yeah.
But you're not going to find what you love instantly. You can't say that magic happens and I'm going to wake up and know and some people it does. Some people, are born with a great voice and they become singers, or they are artists. And, at 3 years old, they're painting, or, you know, great at sports. But if you're not one of those, then you just have to try different things and see what really sticks with you.
For someone who's watching the show and is struggling and saying, you know what, I need to get back on track. I need to see what I'm doing. Do you suggest getting a coach, a life coach, a personal coach?
Listen, I'm a big believer in learning and investing in yourself.
Hmm.
You have to spend some money, allocate a certain amount of money, and say, I'm going to take this much money and go back and invest in myself. Is that by going, getting a gym membership, or getting a trainer to help you work out, or I'm going to go back to school and learn something, or get a degree, additional degree, or I'm going to go back and get a life coach, or a business coach, or a sales coach, or whatever it may be, high performance coach. Investing in yourself is the best investment you can make. I say that, instead of spending, I'm not big fan of jewelry. So I'll take that budget and I'll say, you know what, instead of spending money on jewelry, I'll spend in myself and learning something new. So you have to say where your priorities are. It doesn't mean that if people who like, spending money on X, Y, and Z is bad. Whatever you like, you do. But
Yeah.
I think you have to take a certain amount of money to invest in yourself so that you can continue growing. I mean, you could be 80 years old or 100 years old. Learning never stops. The beauty of aging is that your brain is still there with you, and you can keep sharpening your brain, keep learning and investing in yourself. And then you see where you want to go. And you say, it's okay if your goals are not huge. But one thing I would say is that it's very important that you push yourself a little bit extra. So if you dream and you say, can I push myself a little bit extra? Challenge yourself to, maybe see if you can cross the boundaries.
Yeah. And that's what that was my next question is, how do you find that motivation inside you, right? Because some of us are more motivated by ourselves, and we'll find that way to go a little extra, to do something more. So how do you find your motivation, your passion? How does someone dig inside their soul to find that for themselves?
Listen, Alka, some people have it, some people don't, and it's okay if you don't have it.
Mm.
Some people are generally chilled and relaxed, and they say, you know what, I don't want to, how many times I've told you that, Alka, you could be anything you want, and you'll say, yeah, I'm good. I don't, right? Why are you laughing?
It's true. I'm more chilled.
You're chill. And you're like, I'm good with where I am. And it's fine to be good where you are.
Yeah.
Right? You should know where your limits are.
Yeah.
I love the saying that life is like playing golf. You're not competing with other people. You get your own score better. You can't keep playing to see what is my score and can I get my score better.
Yeah.
So I think everybody has to define what's their motivation and what their goals are.
Yeah.
Right? So if I get inspired to constantly learn and constantly keep going and have multiple balls, that could be that might work for me.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to work for you. And what works for you might not work for me.
Yeah.
And for the audience, I think everybody have to see what their boundaries are.
Yeah.
If they want to push themselves, if they do want to push themselves, and if they feel like they're getting stuck, then they have to go get help.
Yeah.
And if it's a coach, or if it's an external force or internal force, then you figure out, if you can't do it yourself, then you go find somebody to help you get there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But you have to figure out what your drive and passion has to be. Everybody needs to know what their limits are. What do they want?
Yeah.
The goal doesn't have to be is Asha's goal is the right goal, or Alka's goal is the right goal, or XYZ's goal is the right goal. It's what's the right goal for you. And that's the important part. And
Yeah.
knowing boundaries. But then, Alka, if somebody says, I'm not reaching the limit, or I want to do more and I'm struggling to get there, then you need external forces.
Mm.
Then you go hire a coach, you go learn more, you study more, you research more, you figure out what's going to work for you.
Yeah. It's knowing what the next step is and then how to get to that next step, but also how to not paralyze yourself. And what I want to know is, let's say somebody picks this up, the motivation, they watch a show, they're motivated. Now it's 10 months left of the year. How do they say, okay, you know what do I need to chart? I guess I want a step-by-step outline for the audience to say, no matter when you start, because it's never too late to start. No matter when you start, you need to do this. What is your first step? And then just give us a chart so that everybody can chart their growth.
Yeah. So there are multiple tools, right? There are multiple tools out there they can use.
Yeah.
You can do a vision map and you can say, this is what I really, really want. And you create a vision map. And there's tons of videos. You can see how to do the right vision map. You can do annual planning session. There are tons of notebooks which you'll get, or tons of tools online you'll get, where you say, okay, if I want to get here, I want to buy a house for, I know I keep coming back to real estate. I'm so sorry.
So,
So
so anything Asha says, and if she has to explain it to me, she will talk in a real estate analogy. And that in a way is an important pearl, that if you are talking to someone, it needs to be relatable to that person, right? She knows I'm in sales, and she's not going to talk to me about selling a company. She's going to talk to me about a house. So everything we talk about, even if it's about her selling a company, she breaks it down to how to sell a house. And it's we laugh about it, but it's an important point that if you are relating to someone, you need to relate to someone in what they will understand, because that's important.
exactly, that's really cool. Yeah. So yeah, because you want your audience to speak the same language, right? You want to speak the
Yes.
language which your audience can understand.
Yeah. And we're all in sales, regardless of whether we actually sell or not. As human beings, you are selling all the time. Whether you're a mom, whether you're a wife, whether you're a girlfriend, whether you're a teacher, whether you're selling something, it's a skill. Or so this skill is really important to be relatable to somebody.
Right. So going back to, if you want to buy a house, what do? You say, I'm going to buy a house for $500,000. Now what do? You say, I'm going to make sure that I have the budget. So first you have a vision map and you say, this is the kind of a house I want. This is the location I want. And you create a vision of the perfect house you want. This is how it's going to look like. And then you say, okay, do I have the money? What do I need? Do I have the money? So now you take the high level goal and you start breaking down into small pieces. You have to have a clear goal. I want a house with X square, about this square footage, this size, specific and measurable. You want to make sure it's quantifiable. You can measure it. So it's specific and measurable. And then you start breaking it down. Okay, if I want to buy a house by June, I want to be able to start the process by February. And now I want to see 2 houses per week. On the weekend, I'm going to spend time. I'm going to go spend 2 hours every weekend, see a couple of houses. I'm going to shortlist by March or April. So you what you're doing is you're taking a big picture and breaking it down to small pieces. Now, let's say if you say week 3, I'm not going and I'm not making an appointment to go see the house, then what happens? You're not motivated enough to buy the house. What do? So you can have your realtor call you and you say, now hold me accountable because I really want a house by June. So you make your goals clear to somebody else who can hold you accountable. And then hopefully you have the right person who's calling you and holding you accountable. And now that because your vision is clear, the person who's holding you accountable also knows what your vision is.
That's right.
So that's the importance of having clarity. If you don't have clarity and you don't know what your goals are, you're going to fall apart.
Yeah.
So start with clarity, break it down into pieces. And if you feel you're lagging behind, get someone to help you. And it's okay to have someone to help you. And then you, again, try to get back on track and follow through.
That's right.
Yeah. But knowing your why is really important. Knowing that I want to get to that goal and why you want to get to that goal. And if you're struggling, announcing and looking for help is really important. There's no shame in looking for help.
Yes.
to go out and look for help and get back on track.
Absolutely.
And never measure yourself, Alka. Never measure yourself with somebody else, ever. Measure
But isn't
yourself.
that a tendency? Doesn't everybody have that tendency? Especially when you're with friends. Like, so obviously we're friends and your success level is very different than my success level. And it's always going to be like, okay, she does this. I do not do, I cannot possibly do as much as you do. But that's a normal tendency to compare yourself with others.
Yeah, but then what you have to say is that comparison giving me positive energy or negative energy? And if it's not working for you, then it's not good for you.
Yeah.
If that can inspire you to do better,
Yeah.
you take that to better yourself, not compare yourself with somebody else. I could say, you know what, Alka works so hard, I want to work harder. Not because I want to work harder for you to compare myself to you. I just want to work harder than what I do or what my capacity is. So I think it's really, really important, really important. I mean, I cannot stress enough. If the audience went back and took one thing, it would be that try to improve yourself and your competition with yourself. If you keep focusing on you and improving yourself and take from the surrounding the best you can, but don't, negative energy is not good for you or for anybody else.
Yeah. And life is all full of failures and successes, and we have to manage both of them. We have to become better through both. Neither your failure nor your success should define you. So you should stay humble when you're failing and humble when you're successful, because those two times are important.
Absolutely. And then there's another saying which says that you learn more from your failures than from your success.
Yes.
And when you're cruising and everything is going great, you're not learning.
Yes.
You're learning the most when you're failing and you're falling. And then you pick yourself up and say, why did I fail? And then you improve yourself.
And everybody, 2021 is here. We've had a tough 2020. Let's make 2021 the best year for us. Take the pearls that Asha has given you and use them to chart your growth, use them to grow, because what a mind of a man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. With that, we'll say thank you so much, Asha. Thank you. You made it simple for us. You made it simple for the audience, because at the end, growth is easy and simple as long as we do it right. So thank you so much. Thank you for coming on Soul Talks with Alka.
Thank you, Alka. Really
Thank
enjoyed it.
you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.